Well, hey, welcome to another live stream, and thanks for tuning in. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit about game time and game time discipline. And here we go. So the first thing I'd just like to say is kids love game time, and that's one of the big reasons they come. And if as I travel around, I talk to kids, and hey, what's your favorite thing about coming to Awana? And overwhelmingly, the answer I get is I like game time. And so we need to make sure we have game time fun. And the second thing I'd like to talk about is that game time, if you're doing it right, should be borderline out of control. Borderline out of control. So I'm going to talk a little about that, about how you can have fun with games, but at the same time, nobody gets hurt. Kids are having fun. There's some control, there's some discipline. And so here's some of my ideas. So number one is use the 5 count. And the 5 count, for those of you who don't know, is a way for it's a tool to use for group discipline. So the way we use a 5 count is if you're leading game time and the kids are running around, you start to count to five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the expectation is that when you get to 5, that the kids should be at a predetermined place, quiet, and with their hands to their side. And so that leads to my second point is have a place for kids to go. So if you're playing on a game square, you line the kids up on their team color lines. And so when you count to 5, the expectation is that those kids will be on their line, quiet, with their hands to their side. So you want to make sure that they all know where they're supposed to be. Now, if you're not playing with a game square and you're playing a game other way, then find some place, either standing up against the wall. Make sure you know that the kids know where they're supposed to be when you count to 5, when you use the 5 count. Use positive points. And so we use positive points. We give points throughout the whole night, points for attending, points for bringing your Bible, points for bringing a friend, and so on and so forth. And then at game time, we give points out for a winning team, and you can use that. But you can also give points out if they line up on their line. So if you do the 5 count, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and who's ever the first on their line, with their hands to their side, quiet, you can give points to. You can give points if they're cheering their team. So you want to give points for the winning team, but you also want to give points as a discipline tool, so that if they're cheering their team, they get points. So that way the line leader has a tool of like, hey, instead of sit down, shut up, and just pay attention, it's like, hey, man, let's cheer on our team. Hey, go yellow, go blue, whatever. So that those leaders have a tool to keep their kids engaged, but also disciplined. So use positive points. You can give points for the winning team, give points for discipline, give points when they're standing in their line, give points, for all the things you want them to do. Never take away points. Always. For instance, if one team is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, say the blue team is not behaving properly, give points to the red team, the green team, and the yellow team, but don't take away points from the blue team. So that way the blue team can say, hey, if we want points, we've got to do what we're supposed to do. So use positive points. And then lastly, make discipline a game. So that when you're disciplining your kids, you're leading your game time and playing the games, but make discipline a game. So here's what I mean. So the kids come in to start game time, and they come into your game room, whether it's in Awana Square, whether you're playing in a hall, wherever you're doing. And so you start by giving the 5 count. So you count to 5, the kids run to their line, stand where they're supposed to, stand against the wall, stand in their team color line, wherever you told them to be. The winning team gets points, 25 points, 50 points, however you want to do that. And then let's just say everybody wasn't totally dialed into that. then you could do that again. So hey, let's run around, and you guys act crazy, and when I count to 5, run back to your line and hands to your side, and the first team that gets to their line, there's going to get 25 points. So you let them go, they run around, you kind of encourage them to be loud and run around, and then you do the 5 count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they run back to their line, and you give points for the team that did it fastest. And maybe do that 2 or 3 times. So you're kind of training them that every time you give that 5 count, they need to be with their hands to their side on their team color line or wherever, a predetermined place. So you explain your first game, you play the game, and then you're playing the game, and there's some excitement going on, and the level of excitement increases. The level of sort of out of control might decrease. You might play 1 or 2 games, 1 or 2 heats of the same game. So then when you're ready to play the new game, what I would do is count to 5 again. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The kids go back to their line. They're discipled. So you're raising the level of out of controlness, raising the level of excitement by letting them play, and then you bring it back down when you ask them to stay on the line. Then you play another game, you raise it again, and you play it back down. So make discipline a game. Now you play a game, and hey, we're gonna play a game with a beanbag on your head, whatever game you want to play, and then you say, hey, if you're not one of the players playing, we're going to give the winning team 50 points, but if you're not playing, we're going to give the team that cheers the loudest, or any team that's cheering their own team, will give them 25 points. So there's a game going on, the kids are running around, and then you have those kids that are not playing, they're cheering on their team. So you're telling them what to do, and by telling them what to do, they're not idle, they're not bored, they're not causing trouble. You're telling them what to do, and you're giving the line leaders a tool to help them manage those kids. Now, the other thing you do, say you play one game that way, or a game or 2 that way. Hey, we're going to play this other game, and if you're not playing, if you're sitting on your line quiet with no noise, with your hands in your lap, we'll give you an extra 25 points. So you play the game, and then there's a group of kids that are not playing with their hands on their lap. They're quiet. They're totally behaved. So you can come up with all kinds of things with the kids that are playing, and then a group of kids that are not playing, because you don't want them, if there's only 2 or 3 kids playing and you've got 6 or 7 kids on that line, you don't want them, bored and causing trouble. So make your discipline a game. So the whole game time, there's multiple things going on. You've got the game, and then you've got the managing of players. Go back to you can't do the 5 count. They go back. You're raising level of excitement and out of controlness, and then you're ratcheting it back down, and then you're raising it, because if you just let it go, it's going to just continue to heighten. Whereas if you let it go and they're having fun, and the kids are screaming and yelling and cheering on their team, and there's excitement, and then we start over again, we go back down, count, and do the 5 count, and back down. So I hope that was helpful. And if you have any ideas, put it in the chat of this live stream. And thanks again for all you're doing. And certainly there'll be kids in heaven because of your efforts. So thank you, and we'll see you down the road. Bye-bye.